man.
All right, now we're live. We got Charlie
There you
here,
go.
and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. First off, maybe you noticed I have a new office now. I have an office, actually, not a new office. I have an office. It's not
And
just
we can see you. That was 2 weeks of no camera for you.
Yeah, it was a little different. It's pretty bare right now, but I'm going to be putting. I got an arcade machine back there.
Oh,
Yeah.
moving up in the world.
Yeah, we're gonna make this cool. It's gonna be. I'm gonna put all my prints up here and all around. I think it's gonna be fun. So, but yeah, it's been a little nutty lately, and probably not just for me though. Too, it's been apparently crazy for the entire world of comics lately.
I did, man. I just chimed in and thought, oh my goodness, listen to all this news. Tell me. I only heard a little bit.
There's a lot, and I don't feel as qualified as I ought to be because I've just been so busy with getting books ready. But we're gonna go over a few things because I pulled up some articles. The big news is that DC Comics is they're slashing. This is like they're calling it a bloodbath on Bleeding Cool. People are losing their minds. Yeah, so it's gonna be good. Jasper Plan 9 says, you got my camera with my $2. Got a camera with my $2 super chat last week. Yes, I did. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is actually the same camera. I can't for the life of me figure out maybe it had something to do with moving rooms because I unplugged.
Did you also lose weight with that $2? You look thinner this week.
Do I look good? I'll say yeah. Why not? I have no idea.
You didn't go vegan, did you?
No, I still eat red meat and everything I want. I look ghostly. Peter says, I'm pale. Look at that. I don't know if it's the lighting. We'll blame it on the lighting. Let's do that.
You look like if Dr. House ate an extra cheeseburger.
I love that. If Dr. House ate an extra cheeseburger. Yeah. I love that. I don't know. Now I'm seeing Peter in the chat. I'm going to send you a link, Pete. I know that you're busy. You got stuff, but if
he's always busy.
He's so busy. But I'm just going to send you the link anyway, just for kicks, just because there's so much going on.
I'll be quiet. Tell me what is all this happenings.
Well, let's get into the happenings. We'll let people sort of filter in here, but first I have to show this off. So I got the books today. Downcast is finally here.
Ooh.
I've got, let's see, cover. There's the Matt Weldon cover, and the best part is the foil is actually foily. That does not do it justice. It turned out really cool. So there's that one. It's in red foil. This guy right here, this is the Kelsey Shannon cover. It's in purple foil, which I think I like the purple better. It's just perfect. I love it. And
I can't remember which one I actually bought, but I should have bought both. They're both beautiful covers.
I'll send you both, Charlie. How about that?
Oh, I'm on the inside track.
Yeah. You're good. I'll send you both. So I'm excited about this. That means I got everything. So I've got a bunch of people coming over for the next 2 days to help ship this thing out. Because last time I did most of it myself. This time I've learned, and we're gonna have more people helping. So I'm excited for it. The other thing too is that this book is thick. I don't know if you can I should compare it really. Let me see.
Between the first one, you mean?
Yeah.
The second one's much longer.
So first one, I don't know if you can see that very well. The first one is the skinny one. It doesn't seem like that much. I don't know on the camera. When you see them side by side, they're close,
but you can see.
It's like there's a lot of heft to it. So
is that all? Is that extra? Is your new extra girth all about the secret history of Strata?
That's all that. Well, I did add some more extras pages too, which aren't a lot. I think there's like 10 pages of other things, which end up going quickly, especially if you put like the prints in. Like in the back, we've got like the Vinny print, pinup, Phineas pinup he did. There's one from my friend Chaz's his studio did this one.
Beautiful.
And then the covers.
He has a whole studio?
He has a whole studio. Yeah. Yeah, the cover, all such sorts of stuff like that. And then the Secret History Strata, which some of it is like this. It's like text.
I love that.
I tried to make it look like an old manuscript, but there's a lot of great art in it. Like there's one example right there. I feel nervous whenever I have a new book and like I don't want to open the spine too much, but by the end,
I feel as though I can smell it. I can smell
fantastic.
The new bookiness.
It smells so good in here right now. It's real nice. I like it. In fact, it smells a little bit different than the last print run. I know it sounds crazy, but when your whole house smells like it for like weeks, you know that smell. This one smells different. I don't know what they did, but this one smells even better than the last one. So I will take it. So that's Downcast. I thought about signing some books tonight and make it kind of a chill stream, but there's just so much news to talk about. One being, well, maybe we'll get into some of the news, and then I think we ought to talk about Fatal as well, because that's launching soon. Where I'm getting this thing fulfilled, and then Fatal is launching next week. We're talking next Tuesday, the 18th. It's gonna be rad.
Goat horns all around.
That's right. I'm so stoked about that. It's gonna be so fun.
Me too, man.
Let's see. In the meantime, let's look at the news here. Share the screen.
Has we're kind of 85 years. Another 85 years. I just heard somebody chime in on Ethan's stream. 85 years or 85 more minutes for DC, playing on Jim Lee's quote.
Yeah, that's right. Jim Lee said it was going to be around for whatever, a really long time, 85 years, 100 years, I don't know, a long time. But now it's not looking like it's going to be. So Ethan said on his stream, is he still streaming now? I thought he was wrapped up. And then so I was like, I'll fire it up. But he said Zack was right. And I thought about that, and it really resonated with me because he was right. So this is even from Bleeding Cool, who, they're definitely cynical when they want to be, depending on what the subject matter is. But they say DC Comics editorial bloodbath going on right now. Cam says Ethan is done. Okay, this is the place to be then. Also, we got 75 people watching. Welcome, everybody. Bleeding Cool. So basically, here's the thing. Bleeding Cool will get rumors. They're usually, if they're posting them, there's something to it, because you give it a few weeks. Obviously, he's getting Rich Johnson, for all of his flaws. He knows some people in the industry, and he's getting information. So I expect that most of this is going to be correct, because it usually seems like it is, except for his opinion pieces. I disagree with strongly. But he's reported earlier this week, layoffs at Warner Brothers, widely expected over the weekend. I saw that article come out, and everybody immediately started looking at DC Comics, because where are layoffs going to start? And then lo and behold, today, Twitter has changed. comic book pros have sort of changed their tune. It's been kind of crazy, and I think it's going to continue to get more crazy. Let's see. It would impact DC Comics today as well, including editorial staff. Variety has numbered 650 layoffs coming from Warner Brothers, while HBO is expecting to lose 175 staffers, topping 800 staffers. You can't, there are ramifications for closing things down for so long. There was a little bit of a delay, and honestly, I think this is part of it. It's probably compounded the problem, but entertainment right now is struggling. I mean, think films, they're not putting out new movies unless they're doing so, virtually or online or whatever, digital. All right, these come in the wake of a major overhaul at Warner Brothers, led by the new Warner CEO, Jason Killen, who appears to have some kind of an evangelical, even colonial zeal. Wow, that's interesting word choice. With his talk with Warner Bros. Acting like missionaries to the world. And of course, you can't have missionaries without a bloodbath at some point. I reject that notion. I was a missionary, and I never participated in a bloodbath.
Yeah. Demonstrate your bias much?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit. All right. We are being told that DC Comics staff are being informed of the changes. It's all still developing, but all indications are that it's a lot more than editorial. But we're talking high-level cuts at DC today, and time after time, people are using the same word to describe it: bloodbath. And at first, I thought these are salt and pepper shakers. They're not chess pieces. So I'm not sure what he's trying to say there. But well, what does that have to do with it?
That's not a white pawn that knocked over a black queen?
That's what I thought. But even right here in the link here, it says it's a wallpaper.com salt pepper mill acrylic white and black. Like it looks, at first you think it's chess, but this is a salt and pepper grinder, you know. So
it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Did they mention that in the body of the article?
I don't. We'll get. I haven't read through it, so I guess we're doing it live. Right. But I kind of doubt it because it's nonsensical. The link just doesn't make sense. They're like, well, that looks ominous. I don't know. I guess if you're gonna cook after the bloodbath, then it's
gonna get spicy.
It's a butchering. I don't know.
It's gonna get peppery.
Never played chess. No, this though. Well, maybe Rich Johnson's never played chess, possibly because these are not chess pieces. These are.
It makes me kind of want to play chess with salt and pepper shakers. Is what it makes me want to do.
I mean, it could be
on a big table, move them all around.
Why not? That'd be big chess. Yeah, you have to have a very different ones though. Lots of pieces. All right, so multiple people have mentioned Mark Doyle, executive editor at DC Black Label, as an early casualty, which, considering that Black Label, aside from the likes of Last God, remains a strong profit center of DC Comics. And part of the reason, this is an aside, their DC Black Label are printed on better quality paper. They're just better quality books, objectively speaking. They're printed larger. They might have some like shininess to them. You know what I mean? There's some fancy quality to them that you're not getting in regular floppies. And that, to me, kind of says something about the way that comic books are moving. So let's see. So here's some more names here. We have heard mention from various sources of various reliability. I don't know what that means. That Vice President Global Publishing Initiatives and Design Strategy, Bobby Chase. I have no idea who he is. DC editor Andy Curry. I think everybody knows who Andy Curry is. DC senior story Brian Cunningham. Let's see, Hank Canals. I butchered his name. Bob Harris, also rumored to be laid off. This is really shaking things up. This is insane. So a lot of people are leaving. This is editorial, and I imagine that this is sort of where it all starts. It's going to trickle down because they can just change what they're putting out. They can get rid of titles. They can do a number of things, and all their plans are totally pushed aside. I remember, everyone was talking about DC's. I don't even remember what they called it. They were going to do some big new initiative for the summer.
5G.
Did that ever happen? It just disappeared.
No. And the strange thing was, this morning I listened to Ethan's stream, and for a year he had been mentioning 5G, but at the same time, everyone else is also talking about 5G for phones, right? And 5G is the new way that the information is going to get to your phone. So I was very confused because until today, on a lot of streams, unless I missed tons of them here, but missed what 5G meant in the DC context, because I just thought everyone was referring to the technological advances, because 5G is going to blow away the way that the information gets to your phone. But in the DC context, it was 5th generation. And they were going to do a different version of all the DC stuff, sort of another new 52. But I didn't know that until today when Ethan was talking about this earlier. Yeah. And as he said it, I was saying, oh, it's not just about phones. Because in the story, mixed in is always AT&T. So that's true. I can deliver news for the idiots.
They're like, we're not, we can't do 2 5G initiatives here at AT&T. Yeah, it's going to be confusing. We're going to do the one that makes money. That's the one we're gonna try. All about books. So 5G is the new street drug. It could be.
So to DC, 5G was a new fatter Wonder Woman, and to everyone else in the world, it was getting VR in your phone.
That the timing of that cover is just insane. I saw that circulating yesterday, I think it was. And then now today, it's like everyone's getting laid off. And so the cover everyone's talking about at DC is the not, I wouldn't even say thick. It's like frumpy Wonder Woman, which, I get it. I'm no spring chicken, but I don't want to read that, in a comic. Like, you want attractive looking people.
Yeah. What if your guidance counselor was Wonder Woman? Boys, did you love your guidance counselor as a kid? Because now she's Wonder Woman. Isn't it sexy?
She's got a lasso of truth. That's about the only difference. Brian,
tell me what college you really
$5 super chat. Appreciate this super chat. Oh, you're good. Sorry, I'm jumping all over you. Here's published in Pete in the house.
Hey, how's it going?
Peter Samedi, the voice of reason.
So what's going on?
I was hoping that you would know a little bit more about this than I do, but I've been not very great at following the news lately. But DC Comics is going through what's best pictured as a salt and pepper shaker, but they're going through a bloodbath. Bloodbath. People are getting fired. I kind of wonder if it's possible that DC Comics has grown too much, and I think a lot of comics have gotten so big and bloated with extra editors and positions that we can't describe what they mean. But then when something happens, it gets really difficult.
For a second, I was like, they've grown too much. I was like, what industry are you paying attention to?
Yeah, organizationally, they've grown.
Yeah.
They've, I don't know. You'd say
no. This is kind of weird because I had mentioned this a while ago on a stream, months and months ago, about the fact that when DC had left Diamond and they went over to basically just do business to distribute with Lunar and UCS, which is basically Midtown and DCBS, I felt like that was them partnering up with the 2 biggest retailers so that they could kind of liquidate product as much as they could and not have to go under the terms of Diamond and all the kind of stuff that they would have been subject to. And it just feels like they made all these different moves that, it's led them to this, and this was the plan for months. Some people might be shocked by it in terms of being at DC, but I don't think many of them at the top, I don't think many of them would be. It's what a weird situation though, right? To just as fans for a second to just think about the fact that like DC Comics isn't going to be like a thing. That's kind of weird that could be a possibility in a very big way.
And the way that it ends up becoming is right now it's so open for speculation, and I would think that they'd want to get ahead of this, but this is exactly what I said with Diamond, and like when all that stuff was going down, when COVID first became a thing, I felt like they were too quiet. They weren't saying anything. They were just ignoring it when there were obvious problems. Now here's another opportunity. I feel like you'd want to get ahead of it before the rumor mill starts turning. But I don't know. So it's almost worse for me from a PR standpoint that they haven't gotten ahead of it and actually put out some kind of narrative. Instead, you're seeing comic book pros just posting on Twitter that they're going through a hard time, or their heart goes out to everyone at DC. Like, this is the messaging you're getting. None of it that I've seen is actually coming from DC. That's troubling to me.
They haven't really been very proactive with a lot of their messaging for a very long time. It feels like they kind of sit back, stuff happens, they think they could wait it out and just ride out the storm in silence. And that's almost impossible to do. It's kind of like, you hide under the bed and the monster's going to go away. That's everybody at DC. It feels like DC represents the letters now. It feels like it represents damage control.
Yeah.
It's just every single thing. That's what they've been synonymous with in the past 5 or 6 years. Every single thing has been damage control. Something happened, some dumb decisions made, some poor move with either the editorial, the management, the books themselves, the content. And then they're like, oops, they go, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Every single thing is damage control. I don't even know. It's awful. All I know, though, is it's awful for DC, but it's fantastic for all the indie creators out there and all the fans of those books. And that's primarily my main concern. So to me, indie's the way. It's been the way for years, as far as I'm concerned. And now more than ever, you can really see it. Being an independent creator is absolutely the best thing you could be in comics.
There's something about being lean. And like, I work in higher education. I'll put that out of the way. But when you're working for a government funded institution, you see where there's this endless growing. I wonder if Charlie was having audio problems. That seems to happen. He might jump back in. But
I hope so. I don't want to be alone with your ugly mug.
I know. You'll have to suffer. That's why he's wearing those glasses. It's because I'm trying to fix the lighting too. I look so pale.
I had to put these on to give you some color.
I know. Like, look at both of you have color. Maybe it is. Like I said, it's the same camera. I don't know if there's something wrong with it, or I'm just super pale. I'm channeling Dracula. But
you look good, man. You look like the guy that I would buy all my Adderall from. and my comics.
Yeah. I'll hook you up.
Sweet.
I'll hook you up. So there's something about being lean, though, especially in comics, when you're talking really narrow profit margins, and when you have to be, when you're some bloated institution, and not only that, but you're in really expensive cities like Marvel. I just thought if Marvel ever moved to like Oklahoma or something, they could probably operate and people could make a living, but they would never do that because they it would undermine like the books that they're making, I suppose. I'm not sure what it would do, but it doesn't make sense. The expenses.
If they put that Oklahoma sensibility into it, maybe they would sell more books.
They might just do it. People wouldn't be eating cat food, to get by their editors. Something to be said for being lean, independent.
Not for nothing. When people say that too, depending what cat food you get, it's more expensive than people food.
That's true. Upgrade to Fancy Feast.
That's what I feed my cat, and I just started going back to is it not Meow Mix? It's so much cheaper. And he likes it more. And he's 18, and I'm giving him Burger King now. So it's just sort of,
let him live. Yeah,
that's right. He was an indoor cat for 18 years, and I looked at my wife and said, "Let's let him live. He's been a cat all his. Let him live. Won't you let him live?" So I'm giving him junk food. I'm letting him live outside. And he's suddenly thinking, "I'm not going to die now. This is awesome."
The hurricane, you had a hurricane over there, didn't you? Recently, so he's probably like, yeah, man, living.
Yeah, we kept him inside for the hurricane.
Okay. Well, I pictured him out there. Have you seen that GIF with that guy, the long hair, shirtless, holding the American flag, and he's just like whipping his hair around in the breeze, stiff wind. Anyway, I digress. All right, so continuing on here. Now there's rumors that sort of loop in Jim Lee. This would not be a surprise to me because if they're shaking things up, I don't know. I would just sort of be shocked if Jim Lee, everything stayed the same there. So now we're getting a better shape as to what DC Comics will be looking like going forward, because as to whether Jim Lee remains as COO and publisher, I'm told that he will be transitioning out of that role with current executive editor of global publishing initiatives and digital strategy at DC Comics, Mary Jarvins. The thing is, Jim Lee knows how to do a crowdfunding campaign or two. I think Jim Lee could make an awful lot of money.
Yeah, I'm curious if he actually does stuff still, on his own, or if it becomes still under contract with whatever position he's being, sidestepping to or whatever.
Yeah.
That he can't become basically a competitor against DC.
Right. Yeah.
Because Jim could draw on like a napkin once a week and sell like it, I think for $2,000-$3,000.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really need to do any of this stuff. He should have stepped down when all of this madness occurred. Honestly, if I was Jim Lee, I would have been like, you know what? I know you're going to offer me that publishing thing, and I don't want to be the guy that's the last publisher of DC Comics when we get, steer the ship into the ground. No thanks. And I would have just quit. I would have just said, I'm going to do my own thing. My time is done here. You find someone else to basically be the scapegoat for this. But whatever.
Yeah.
They must have offered him something very lovely, right? I mean,
it probably depends. I this goes without saying, I don't know Jim Lee, but I've got to wonder if part of him, like a lot of the people in comics, have just this love and the tie to the characters that they want to be doing. You know what I mean? They want to be working on. And he went off and did Image. He did some other things. I've got to wonder if there's any personal fulfillment that he would get for still being aligned with DC. I don't know. But I don't know. To me, it would make an awful lot of sense to just be like, yeah, I'm done with DC. I'm going to make another backpack, or, whatever he wants to do, he could do it and he'd be set for life. But I don't know. That's just my speculation.
Could you scroll back up? Something caught my attention on the side.
Was it Eric Weathers? Was that it?
Well, Eric always catches my attention.
I catch your eye. I'm the twinkle in your eye, you might say.
Of course. It's this NYCC bar talk. How Batman's penis is damaging DC Comics from within.
From within.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Right here. Yeah, this is an older article, isn't it?
Come on. Is Batman really Dirk Diggler? Really digging tunnels? He's damaging them from within? Is that what you're saying?
It paints quite the picture.
It does.
Really
I just picture Batman
headline
amok in DC Comics office. Just like
he's digging tunnels.
Knocking papers off, like a rogue cat. Just like going up to mugs and being like, oh yeah, boom, knock it off, move on to the next desk.
How many panels does it take to draw his penis that is doing damage from within?
Oh.
Come on, they wrote that on purpose.
It was, they have a tendency to do that kind of stuff. But that's a good point, and that was Andy Curry. Am I right there, or am I wrong? I could be wrong. Was it Andy Curry that was responsible for Batwing?
Sure, whatever.
Okay, well, whatever. I don't want to misspeak. Now I'm like I'm not sure, but that didn't go over well.
No, in fact, they went back and changed it. So now the Batwing's probably worth some money if you have a copy of it.
It's true. Well, we could look it up.
Now you can have it do damage from within your own home.
deep damage from the inside.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Well, what's going on? Why did DC implode? I don't understand. They put Batman's penis in the comics, but everyone wanted that. Everyone wanted that. And then they gave us a very body representational, body positive, whatever it is, a version of Wonder Woman just recently. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants that too. Yeah. Purple-skinned Wonder Woman. I don't understand. They're doing all the right moves.
Yeah, they're checking all the boxes.
She's as tan and healthy looking as Clint. Tonight.
She's probably about the same shape. Though my hips are not quite that big.
And don't forget, way back when in The Killing Joke, I believe we got Commissioner Gordon's wang. Does everybody remember that? Remember The Killing Joke, everybody? Grant Morrison? They're pulling him, and he's on a leash, and he's naked, and you can see the little tic tac hidden there as he's walking towards.
And Dr. Manhattan, famously, he just swings that around.
There we go. There it is.
Clint, you should show the version of this cover that's got Peregrine next to her, because apparently that's been the meme going around. I've been pretty proud of that.
If you don't mind getting it and sharing the screen, I will.
Yeah.
Share your screen, then we'll find it. This, in case anybody's not familiar with this, this is the Wonder Woman, and again, this is the face. Like right now, this is what DC Comics talking. Everybody that's talking about DC Comics, this is what they're talking about. The next thing that we know,
by the way.
Okay, wait. Let me zoom in here.
It's a little thing. It's right in that panel right there.
Oh yeah.
It could just be an Audi. Maybe he's got an Audi.
Shading. Yeah.
And the light's hitting it just right.
It's a heck of an Audi.
Really bad for anyone who just joined the program right now.
I don't.
They're like, Zack was right. What is this? Zack was right about what? Oh Lord.
Hey, we're just pointing out all the DC Comics wings throughout the centuries, decades.
Yeah.
But, the most satisfying thing was, so the story broke around noonish, or actually before noon, right? So it was in the morning, but then listening to all the DC apologists like, oh, well, this doesn't really mean anything, or this doesn't mean it's going to be DC Comics. It could just be Warner Brothers. And it was just like the hand wringing. It was like, no, they're going down hard. And man, I can't believe it really was a bloodbath.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see too, because this is just the beginning. DC hasn't actually said anything still officially, and so when they do,
their comms person left earlier this week or whatever.
Yeah, they've been fired, and no one wants to do it. They're just gonna ignore it, I guess. And I don't know, show us these 1984 Wonder Woman covers, I guess, but I don't know. I can't say I'm surprised. I can't. I don't know. Again, Zack was right. He'd been saying this for years now. And he even had it down to like this year, the year 2020, which I thought was a little premature. He said this year is the year that it goes down. And here we are. It went down.
Well, who's even more prescient is Ethan. I mean, what was it, the end of last year when that when did Dan DiDio leave DC?
Earlier this year.
Yeah, it was earlier this year, right?
Wasn't that long ago.
But it was before COVID, right? It was like February.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So I just remember that's when he started spilling all the tea. Dan DiDio left. It was kind of like, he felt like he was safe to kind of start talking out of school at that point. And, I mean, I know COVID probably had a little bit to do with it, but man, he couldn't have lined it up more correctly.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that it just underlines that when something like that happens and you have an implosion of one of the big two publishers, like maybe they weren't in good shape to start off with, to be able to withstand something like that. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay, I think, because of COVID and all the, what do they call it? The PPP, or people are getting the paycheck protections. Yeah,
there's a lot of PP stuff going on in DC Comics.
Well, the other thing too, when you look at this purely from not from a culture war or anything like that. I mean, when you just look at it from the standpoint of a business decision, these companies don't make their own toys. They go to Mattel or they go to Hasbro or somebody like that, and they let those guys, they license their IP to make the toys, right? Why does AT&T need a small pamphlet publisher? I mean, essentially, I think they're gonna, in the end, just get rid of DC completely and just license Pete to do all these characters, and we'll have good DC Comics again.
Yeah, I was gonna say to me. He doesn't even want to do that, I'm sure.
We just had to stare at that very interesting cover for a couple minutes. Can you share my screen so we can actually look at actual real DC Comics art?
Look at that.
Oh,
now if they had this, and this is circa 1984, around then, if they had that across the board as a variant, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, the legend himself, and his art on Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc., and doing that as a variant with the DC bullet as the logo, vintage up the covers a bit, those would have sold. And that would have given them press for all the right reasons. They just it's very.
Let's be honest. They probably didn't even pay the artist. They were like, "Hey, you want to be on a DC cover? Great."
Yeah.
Because we're about to fire everybody, so why not?
Well, the sad thing is that I saw in a couple other tweets, the artist who did that cover, and it essentially is a copy of her own artwork. It's not even it just didn't make any sense. Why you would even hire an artist like that.
Yeah, I wonder too, because it seemed like for the past few years they're desperately grasping for like the new trend in art. That's kind of what it seems like, and they're going for the Cartoon Central look, or the we saw it with like the Battletoads.
You just mixed Comedy Central and Cartoon Network together.
You did.
Did I say
Cartoon Central?
Trademark. I've got that one.
That's what it's called.
I would watch Cartoon Central every night.
Cartoon Central. Oh my goodness. I'm so bad. I haven't made a video in like a week straight. I swear, guys. Or they could, they could have had maybe art like this. Let's be honest, they never could have had art like this. But this is another option. That
was what was interesting, right? You're talking about the talent pool dried up. They mentioned that a bit ago. I think it was actually Didio that had said that, and all I could think is, really, are you guys looking?
Yeah. No, they're super talented people, but they're either not offering them the creative freedom that they need, or they're not offering them the money, or both. Essentially that's what it comes down to. But we're gonna take I don't want to say this is a break, but this is my segue. Here's some pages from Charlie. This is for Fatal, some new stuff. I don't think anybody's seen any of this before.
We're keeping them under wraps. That's page 9 and 10.
Yeah. We're dripping some more out here. This will be launching on Tuesday next week, so we've got basically a week away. This is launching. I'm so excited about this book. It's going to be awesome.
Great stuff, Charlie.
Charlie, yeah, tell us. You got really excited about this one on the left in particular. You want to tell us a little bit about the art or whatever?
Yeah, because we had long talked about. There's a page where Flynn is the character there. He calls in for an airstrike, and I left it undone because I didn't know he was in trouble, and he's on the side of that floating barge in the air. And in that, I didn't quite know how I was going to go about it, but in that top left panel, I had the rough, but there's a big difference between making the rough sketch and then executing. So the helmet comes up over his head when he's in trouble, and then I dropped the little logo in there because you always got to be branding. And then in the top right, he calls in the airstrike while he's still hanging on to the side of the thing. And there's a little panel in the middle there where little rockets drop out of the ship. The ship is high up above him. So if you see in the big central panel there, he's hanging on, and up high above him on the wall of this barge, high above, is the ship he came from, and which Clint very beautifully named the Gull.
The Gull.
And the Gull. And the rockets drop out as he calls in for the airstrike on his little wrist communicator. And then the rockets, maybe it's a little too small to see, they come flying out. And then on the next page 10, we're farther out in the first panel on the top right, as all the rockets come zooming in towards him. He is pushing off from the side of the barge as all the rockets are coming in, and there's a horde of snarling lizard creatures reaching out for him, and he's pushing off. And in that darker panel in the middle, it's certainly too small to see, the big explosion is on the left, and the camera begins to push in past the explosion to the window of a tower where a fine young lady is looking out the window, and her companion is behind her by a hot tub, sort of. What was the name of that thing? Rejuva tub or
I
something?
call it Nutrapool.
Nutrapool, that's it.
Rejuva pool. Yeah.
Dude, we could sell Nutrapool. That is good. And then we end up on the reverse angle where her protector there is too bored to be bothered with it out the window, and she's smoking and lounging, and Moxie is looking out the window. And so that's page 9 and 10. Fatal. Go sign up. If we had Vaughn here, he might say, if you need aliens dead, get Fatal.
Get Fatal.
There. Oh, you do a good Vaughn. Vaughn?
Is that Vaughn or is that Palpatine? It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had a Palpatine impression. Actually, gosh, we need a good. I'm sure we could find a good quote in some of this stuff.
No, he was thrown down an elevator shaft in the Death Star. He's never to be seen again.
We'll revive him again. I honestly, the new Star Wars movie, I watched it. I don't even remember how. I didn't watch it that long ago, but I don't remember any of it. Like, really, I know he's back, but I don't know, bro, why. What the justification? Yeah, I just blocked it out of my memory, like it had abused me or something. Like,
if they ever bring the Lucas cut back out, maybe I'll check it out when that comes up.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about. It was a great movie.
See, bought and paid for here.
It's got my boy in it.
Palpatine.
Who's your boy?
You put Palpatine in any movie, it's automatically a 10 out of 10.
Oh, it's a win. All right. Did you get any good Palpatine quotes from that movie though? Like any new ones that?
Yeah.
Well, I like how Palpatine won at the end. I mean, it was very deftly done, and ultimately, that was probably the best part. He basically told her, "Kill me," and she said no, and then she went ahead and killed him anyway. And then he possessed her and went and took a crap in the old Tatooine moisture farm.
That's right.
So he
now
won.
He is Rey Skywalker.
That's right. Well, he's still Palpatine, but he otherwise known as Rey Skywalker.
We got
Don
some
Shepard. That was a kind compliment. Thank you, Don Shepard.
Yeah.
That's also a great name. Don Shepard, it sounds, because the Don of the Mafia is the guy in charge, and the Shepard is kind of the other end of it, right?
So he's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good work, Don Shepard.
I've not been paying very good attention to the chat. Sorry, everybody, for that. But Terror Wombat had a question. Is this digital? Talking about Charlie's art. I'll let you answer, Charlie.
Yes, I've been digital. I started working in advertising in 2003 or 2003, and everything was on Bienfang 360 marker paper. I used to draw with Copic markers, and you draw one thing and then slip trace it back up and make it look nice, and then send it off. And around 2009, everything just became digital. 2010, and never looked back. But if you can't tell, hey, that's a pretty good sign. All right.
You remember the original digital art, like drawing on an Apple IIc mouse on the drawing program that came with that thing? It was awesome at the time.
Draw with a mouse and make it green blocks on a black background.
Whatever, man. I was kind of surprised how good you could do with that Apple program that came with it. You could do some pretty powerful stuff.
Huh? I wouldn't even know.
It's before my time.
Yeah. There's that too. So I've got a question to sort of put out to you guys. I wonder too if part of not just DC but comics in general, they've been searching for the white whale by changing their style. You know what I mean? Like what style they're really showcasing. They're chasing different customers because they assume that their same customers were always going to be there. And I've heard interviews of people saying this. Those customers are always going to be there. So they're going to search and try to find those other ones. You know, it's sort of this white whale hunt. I don't know. Do you think that's real? Do you think that's a possibility? That's part of their problem? I feel like it was a really leading question. Sorry, guys.
I think, sorry, Eric.
I was going to say I barely understood the question.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, all right. Okay. Appreciate that. Peter, what do you have to say?
I was going to say how everybody says, what is it? Is it get woke, go broke, or go woke, get broke, or whatever that is? I think it's more the other way around. I think it's more like you get broke, so you go woke, because you're searching for another audience, because you just, whatever you're doing is not working. Yeah. And so it's like, all right, well, let's try this thing. Let's act as if we care.
Pete, I think you're onto something there, because if this comic industry was humming along and doing well, and they had people who understood the business, and they were really generating sales, there would never have been the weakness that would have allowed this infiltration of people who didn't care about comics, didn't care about the audience that read comics, and wanted to instead kind of slip their agenda into the cultural narrative of comics, right? That weakness allowed that infiltration to occur, and then it became the snowball, and then that's how we got woke from there. So I really think, though, that they were chasing an audience that wasn't there, though. I mean, ultimately, people, it goes down to the people they want to sell comics to don't care about comics.
Yeah, and the thing is, what's funny, and I think every single person here, every single fan of comics has thought this from the start when these kind of changes started occurring. It was always, well, why don't you just put them in certain stores in certain areas where these new books might appeal to people, these new characters, these new messages you want to put out there might appeal to people. Actually find your audience. Instead, it turns into, well, we have the same audience coming to the same place. Comics are in less places than ever before. And let's put more comics out than ever before. And let's expect the audience to just change their tastes. And then let's get upset at them when their tastes don't change. And then let's call them even worse things when their tastes don't change. It doesn't make any sense trying to force the audience. They're not listening to the audience and saying, oh, the audience is begging for this massive change across the board. They don't like that classic, iconic stuff that they put on all the merchandise. Their merchandising department, business-wise, they get it. The T-shirts, the wrapping paper, the posters, every single thing. All the ancillary stuff is iconic. It's classic. It's Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. To the normie crowd is DC Comics. But for the comic book crowd, no one knows what the heck that is, which is the strangest thing in the world that they just don't get. That's what sells to everybody.
Can you imagine you go to the movies and you see like any movie. You go see that, and then you go check out the comics. And they don't even at all resemble what's going on in the movies. Yeah.
Well, so the big problem is that, the infiltration had already occurred when the MCU really got its head of steam going. So they had already decided to chart a different path. They didn't care about sales. Ultimately, they didn't care about sales. They assumed that people would come to the comics because of the MCU movies, and then that would give them a way to influence that audience to, kind of correct their incorrect thought patterns. I mean, I know I'm probably way over analyzing this, but that's just the way propagandists work. Propagandists want to put their information in front of the largest audience possible. That being said, they're generally not creative because they're tied to their message. And that's the weakness. I mean, I always said that there were plenty of liberals and progressives involved in comics back in the 80s making wonderful comics, but they were storytellers first. They weren't propagandists. They didn't, they weren't trying to beat you over the head. They were just trying to tell great stories. And that's how we got, amazing stuff like the New Mutants and the X-Men and all those great kind of mid 80s stuff that turned into a lot of the great stuff from the 90s. So, it's just kind of interesting how this, how we're where we're at, and essentially they killed the comic industry. So who knows what's going to happen next?
I'm going to point this out from AL in the chat. Says she says the stream disappeared from my subscription feed. I had to look for it. This is apparently has been happening to a lot of streams that you have been subscribed to. I've heard a lot of people saying it, and a lot of people are not getting notifications for my videos. Though lately, the past several days, it's just been me not posting videos. But I don't even know how to fix that. YouTube's been weird. So appreciate you being here, AL. Sorry. I don't know, everybody. Make sure you're subscribed still and ring the bell if you want the notifications. Sometimes they'll undo that. Don't know why, but it happens.
Clint, do you remember a month ago or 2 months ago? Every time we started talking, I'm talking to you through an iPad. Afterwards, the iPad would say, Clint Stoker is live. And I would say, hey, my iPad's right. He's live. And I'm talking to him. That's gone. It's not, the notification has disappeared.
Oh,
You've
that's
been
disappointing.
ghosted, Clint.
I know. It happens. That's why I'm like, I can't put all of my eggs in one basket, I guess. I don't know what to do. YouTube's the best, but it's still, I don't know. It at any moment they could just turn you off, and you're, I don't know, you're out of luck, I guess. But I don't know. We'll keep riding it and spread things out. So appreciate everyone watching. Other point here I want to make is that they're saying like some of the big people at AT&T are looking at this and they're saying, what sells? What makes money? Batman makes money. Just make more Batman books. Forget all this other stuff that's not selling. Just do Batman books. Part of that makes sense because they're following the dollars. But it is kind of a sad state of affairs. I think, Scott, you made an excellent point in that they're never creating their own stuff. They're always going to send it out elsewhere. So why would this be any different? That makes so much sense, especially because you don't have that risk of having all these low selling titles. You can just pass that risk on to someone else and collect your money for licensing.
Yeah, you're going to collect no matter how well they sell. The other thing too is I think in the near term, I think the Sean Gordon Murphys of the world, the actual creators who are not propagandists are probably going to do well at DC, because they're not going to cancel DC Comics next month and put it out of business. They're gonna off ramp. You know what I mean? So it'll be a gradual decoupling, and eventually, the stuff that's working, they'll try to pass it off as for more money to say an IDW or some other kind of company, Boom or whoever wants the rights to it, and Sean will continue to make his White Knight comic. It will just 1 month be a DC comic, and the next month will be a Boom Studios comic or something like that. But I think I'd love to see them continue to try to make DC a thing, but just cut the titles by about half. Because then you focus your better on those. But unfortunately, this kind of cost cutting, they don't want to pay anybody, so all the good talent's gonna flee because they're just not gonna be able to get the money they want.
Yeah, I guarantee. I've already seen it beginning. I won't say any more than that. I've already seen it beginning, but you're gonna see more of pros just leaving, and all this hate group talk is going to be ending real fast.
Oh yeah,
it's going to happen. Like
I think it's going to ramp up.
You think it'll ramp up?
I think it's going to ramp up.
Well, in the near term,
I could see a sort of a polarized effect.
I think
happening.
some that are opportunists are going to be like, "Hey, remember that time that I said these horrible, awful things about? I was just kidding."
Well, yeah,
funny.
I love you, man.
I think we're going to see the ones that were silent, that may have been in agreement, but were afraid of losing their jobs. Are like, all right,
that's a good point too.
I'm not afraid anymore.
There are many of them out there too.
Yep.
They're just there to work, had their heads down and working. That is true. Does it matter? No. Like I'm not at all suggesting that anybody should be looking or trying to figure out. You just back the books you want to book. You want to support. That's all it comes down to. But it'll be interesting to see sort of publicly how this goes down. So here's another point from the article. Because the plan is for publishing to definitely continue, but I am to expect a greater emphasis on digital and bookstore rather than comic book shops, at least for now. I think that's probably a good point, but I don't think that's just DC. I think that's in general. There's comic book shops are in a tough spot, and I sort of expect more comic book shops are going to start closing too. This is, I don't know. It's a big hit.
You know, I mean, I can understand why all the businesses are pushing the digital idea, because you know, it's actually perfect from a business standpoint. There's very little overhead. You know, there's no shipping. There's none of this. All you got to do is create the book, and then you make the digital file, and then you put it in a place, and it gets downloaded, right? But unfortunately, none of us want digital comics, I don't think. I mean, you know, there are certain people out there that may want a digital comic for, you know, one reason or other. But, you know, when it comes to new comics, when it comes to Fatal, Fatal comes out, I'm no interest in a digital comic. I want the physical thing. It's kind of like people going back to buying, you know, vinyl records. You know, people want that big piece of artwork, and they want the collectible, physical, you know, product.
Yeah. I also think too, like if they looked at their back catalog, like how once you have books made, like all the art is produced and everything, if you're just talking about a print run, your costs have changed quite a bit. And if they, for some reason, were like, you know what, we're going to go back and just reprint Frank Miller's run on Daredevil issue by issue, exactly as it was, you know, put a new barcode on it. And I would buy it, because I'm trying to collect all those right now, and it's been a little bit difficult in paying what I want to pay for each issue. But like, I don't know, like I would buy that. I think a lot of people would. Again, I think back to what Peter said, is that's the iconic stuff. That's what people wanted.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff too with the replica editions, even putting them kind of on like newsprint. And selling them for the cost of a new comic, you know, they'd be priced like $3.99 or whatever. I think all of that was testing the waters. Can we put out and regurgitate product again and say, well, they buy it for $3.99, and then they look at it, and they've even publicized it very heavily, and even being upset about it in a way, saying that some of these sell better than some of our new comics. Well, and they were, you know, obviously they thought that there was something wrong with that, even though
you know, in a lot of ways, I would rather have replica floppies than trade paperbacks. And, you know, I mean, especially of certain stuff.
Well, they have enough material. They could reprint material for the next, I don't even know, 100 years if they really wanted to stretch it out.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised in the next 5 years if we see that anything new out of DC is basically just the equivalent of, you know, just kind of an add-on for a comic. It's ancillary merchandise now. It's the same thing as making a T-shirt or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's supplemental to an animated series or a show or a movie or a video game. Putting an emphasis on original content, I think, for them is going to be kind of a weird gray area, because I wouldn't be surprised too if, just like what happened before when comics kind of imploded, that it sent a lot of great creators off to do other things. So if you're a comic creator, you're not going to go, oh, DC looks like a really attractive and stable place to work at right now. You're going to rather, you know, you're going to see what everyone else is doing. Every single person on this stream, we've got creative freedom. We're not under the I hate to use this word, but I'll use their word. We're not under the oppression of anyone. We get to do what we want to do. We get to tell the stories we want to tell. We get to engage with the readers. We get to have all these fantastic experiences that you can't do when you're in corporate comics. Mm-hmm. And that's incredibly attractive. Every creative person out there, the biggest thing they want is creative freedom. So to see that, and then also it comes with more money than working for a corporation. There's no way. There's no way you go in and go, DC looks attractive right now.
You know what's so interesting, and I found this to be a lot more interesting than the actual book that he brought to market. You know, when Sean Gordon Murphy came over to do a crowdfunded comic, the thing that I found most interesting was his interactions and his responses. because this is a super creative and talented guy. He can write and he can draw all day long. I mean, he doesn't need anybody, right? And despite that, he is not interested in being his own boss. He had a guy to do his, market. He was doing all his Twitter stuff for him, and he had an assistant doing who knows what that guy was doing. It was this kind of, he had been institutionalized by this studio system, I guess, maybe that he has created around his professional comics career. And ultimately it was like, what the hell? I mean, this guy could just, him and his wife, because apparently he also works with his wife, the two of them, they could make $1 million together. But he's too scared. He's too. He wanted to go back under that protection of DC. It was just really kind of surprising that he went that way.
Yeah, and the approval So talking with Shane Davis, I don't remember his last week, a couple weeks ago, talking about the approval process just to get a script approved to write something. It's insane. Whereas, so I'm talking about me again, but got the books, got Downcast. Like I've already had people saying,
"Oh, looking forward to that."
I want Downcast 3. I said you gotta read Downcast 2. I want you to read it, but I have ideas for 3.
2. You won't want number 3. Trust me.
He liked it. But it's just that easy though. Like if people want more, I've got ideas. I've got a lot of ideas for this, but it's almost like I want to see audience reaction. I want to see, what people want. I just want to force feed, my vision out there. I guess I want to be in tune with the readers, but it's that easy. If people want a book to continue, people want a Dracula book, then okay, we'll do a Dracula book.
When is Clint Stoker's Dracula coming out?
I have no idea. I've got ideas for it, but it kind of it depends on a lot of things. So, but I'd love to do it. Right now, the focus is just shipping out Downcast and then Fatal real soon.
Since we're being self-serving, can you share my screen?
Do it, yeah.
So these are the Twitter messages I've been getting in the last 48 hours or so. And so Door Kickers is finally showing up at people's houses. People, I have got one complaint about damage or anything like that. This is so much, so meaningful to me to see people actually get this book, in their hands. And, Clint, you and your show are a big part of this. This is where I kind of got my start as a creator in CG. So I thought this would be an appropriate opportunity to kind of share this with your audience as far as letting them see the books out there. People are starting to get it. So far, positive response. So thought I'd share that.
So cool, man. That feeling is just I don't know. Just getting the books is one thing, but shipping them out and then you see pictures of people on their bedspread, or they've got the box in a big mess, and they've got your book sitting there across the country or across the world somewhere else. It's just so cool. I don't think that'll ever get old.
The most disappointing thing to me is I was really surprised how many books were damaged in the shipping from the printer to me. It seems like, with this kind of I have a coating, a matte coating on the outside. So there's this, on the top and bottom books in every box, it rubbed them. And so I've got 48, 58 or so damaged books that I couldn't send out to people. I was really surprised by that. I'm working with the printer, so it's going to get resolved, but that was one of those things that you're not expecting. It's almost like the bottom and top books protected the rest of the books.
Yeah, that happens all the time with printing.
Mm.
Yeah.
And in my experience, people won't care. They'll say, "This isn't damaged."
Good.
That's what happened with my vintage sale.
I know, Eric, you're like me. I mean, there was no way you were going to send any of those slightly scuffed books on the first thing, and that's the reason why you had that. I thought that was a great deal. I mean, hopefully what I'll probably end up doing with these the damaged ones is just give them away for free. They're marketing comp copies, things like that. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, this whole door kickers experience has been great, and having them physically, when they showed up, that was a big deal. But now that I'm seeing them show up at people's houses, I know Clint, yours is on its way. So,
it's here.
Oh, did you get it already?
No, my door kickers. Sorry. I thought you meant my.
No. I'm saying because I printed out yours. I think end of last week. So
I don't have it yet. I'm really looking forward to it. I've gotten almost a book every day for the past several days. I backed Matt Weldon's book. Got both trades of Punchline.
Mm-hmm.
Those arrived. I'm like, I got to read those. I've got RT Bear's Black and White. Just came. What else do I have? I've got others. I've got a bunch I need to read. But yeah, it's been cool just seeing books come in. And seriously, there hasn't been a single project I'm genuinely worried about ever getting. Which could be, that's a whole stream we could talk about too, of all the crowdfunding campaigns out there that have just never been fulfilled, 7 years late, insane, amount of time, books never being shipped.
I'll be honest with you, I'm super guilty. I mean, I felt like I was, when I couldn't make it happen in February, and then, it got pushed to April and then May, and then I was like, oh fuck, it just, after a while the book was ready to print, but the problem was with my situation, with the whole COVID and deploying back and forth, and it was just, I couldn't get ahead.
I mean, that's I don't know, stuff happens. I guess Downcast is a month late technically, and I thought it was gonna be a month early. Stuff happens, but that's nothing like years late, multiple years late. That's tough.
About it.
Yeah. Let's see. Peter, what do you have? Let's do a little bit of promotion here, I think, and we'll wrap the stream. What are you promoting right now? I know everything.
Yeah, right now on alternaaccess.com, we've got it's just a fun sale. It's a sticker sale. We've got 10% off stickers right now. But we always have something going on that site. We got new books that came out about a month or so ago, some of which have already sold out, which is fantastic. And I have to order more the next time I put a print run through. I didn't expect when we left Diamond that we would actually have more sales direct than what Diamond was doing for us.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. Wow.
So it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem to have because I'd rather have books to sell than have things say out of stock. But we do have alternacomics.com/retailers. You can go there and check out, see if your local shop is a certified retailer with us. They carry everything Alterna if they are a certified retailer. You can also, of course, order things by messaging them, and maybe they'll ship them out to you. I'm sure many of them will at this point in time. But yeah, we've got some great stuff on the site. There's always so many things that are awesome. We've got some hack of a schlub named Clint Stoker. He's doing Downcast with us. It's coming out soon. I guess it's okay.
I've got anything.
I just wanted to have some pity for this guy. He just looks so pale and so afraid of going outside.
So pale. I think I was looking through this book today. I'm so excited for people to get it.
No, it looks great.
I've got. These are the Alterna logo. These are logos. These are the Virgin covers that will be, make up the 4-issue miniseries that'll be going through Alterna. So that's in the book. You get a little preview if you back this one. But I'm so excited, and that's I don't want to put you on the spot, but plan was October for issue number 1.
It's probably at this point, knowing the way the world is working, I'm going to say November.
Okay.
So we'll have it available to pre-order a month before. I'm thinking it'll come out. Everything with the printer right now has been nuts. Supply chains are still crazy. Your book at least is done, so I don't have to worry about anything happening with your creative team or anything like that. But yeah, once it gets out there and people can order that, I'm expecting that's probably going to be one of our biggest sellers for the year. People are excited about getting the alternative version, even to go with their graphic novel. So
I hope so, man. I'm gonna push it hard, especially because it's like
push it real good.
push it real good.
Just like that Batman
having it
penis
up here.
from DC Comics.
We went there.
Just pushed through the whole thing, destroyed it from within. It's in the headline.
Speaking of destroyed, Battle Brick Road has destruction in it.
It does. Lots and lots of destruction.
It's a
like
hell of
this
a segue.
page, for instance.
Lots of architecture.
Killing me. But yeah, we're doing great. We're onwards and upwards and on the road to 75,000, where we will unlock. Hey, sticker talk. We're gonna get in a holographic sticker, and if we reach 6 figures, the creative team is gonna get a bonus. So anybody that's outside of me and Zeb, obviously, colorist Mark Marinelli for doing the ash can for Toto. So we're gonna do that 6 figures. So if you like seeing people succeed, do that. But if you don't care about people, back the book anyways, because it kicks ass.
Oh, there you go.
Sound good?
It does.
I
have
it.
a question.
Oh, it's great.
If I put on Pink Floyd while I'm reading it, will it match up?
Yeah, page by page, actually.
Very nice,
And it
right?
gets you high. You don't even have to get high beforehand.
I'm getting high on my own supply.
It's just the whole experience, and you got to wear Peter Cimetti glasses while you do it too.
Which one, the blue blockers or the shades, the cataract?
You got to go with
shades?
blue blockers, because everything's already kind of yellowish and sandy.
Yeah.
So it adds to it really makes it pop.
This gives Clint a lovely tint.
Yeah. Then I have a flesh tone, like I have blood running through my veins.
Yeah.
Which I don't. But
you're a descendant of the Stokers.
Of the Stoker, that's right. He is his own Dracula.
Guys, I looked up some stuff on Bram Stoker, and I'm kind of like, he's kind of a weirdo. Like, I'll have to do some other stuff, but like, there's some things I'm like, he's kind of a weirdo. I guess
Everybody's got that weird uncle.
Kind of takes one to write something like that. I don't know. Scott, I know you showed off some stuff, but what are you promoting right now?
Yeah, so thanks for asking. First, real quick, before I talk about Sidekick Island, I want to say thank you to Pete for lending me Ian Waryanto, from Mighty Mascots. That's one thing you and I have in common is appreciation for his art. And, now that Door Kickers is out, people will be able to really appreciate the work he did on that. So
yeah, Ian's great.
Yeah, Ian's great dude. So I am, I've got Sidekick Island. Basically, 44 superhero sidekicks meet the Hunger Games. It's a bloody, satirical look at the sidekicks of heroes that we love going, Silver and Bronze Age, to include a lot of the stupid tropes that we've seen come into comics within the last 10 years. So you've got the woke and you've got the tradition kind of clashing head to head to see who can survive. And then, clearly when you read this book, you're going to be able to pick out immediately, oh, well, this is a takeoff of this guy. This is a takeoff of this guy. And one SJW said, oh, your idea is so derivative. Well, it's like, yeah, it's a satire, dude. That's how you do satire. You derive it from something that deserves to be mocked. So we're really looking forward to it. We're looking at probably end of this month is when we're going to launch the campaign. So for right now, you go to our pre-launch page on Indiegogo, sign up. You're going to get a free trading card that's exclusive only to pre-launch signups. And then there'll be a discounted perk, hidden perk for all the folks who are signed up on day one. So
excellent. Yeah, with Fatal. So Fatal, if I'm going to say it one more time here, but we're launching next Tuesday. This will be the 18th, and it's gonna be around noon for me. It'll be around 2:00, give or take. Pulling the trigger takes a little bit of time. But we're gonna launch Fatal. If you are on the mailing list, which we have 1,000 people on the mailing list for Fatal, you will get a secret perk. If you haven't signed up for the mailing list, please do so. If you can back on day one, I love you so much and I appreciate you. If you can't back on day one, I still love you and appreciate you. But that day one, the best thing that you can do to help is to just blast it everywhere on social media so that it cannot be ignored. And people will be throwing fits about how sexy the women are. They'll be throwing fits about how beautiful the art is.
What's the secret perk?
It's a secret.
Do I know what? I don't even know what the secret perk is.
We'll talk. This is part of.
That is a high level of secrecy. I'm going to join the witness relocation program with Peter. We'll be gone.
The secret perk is part of my marketing strategy I did on the first campaign, and I thought it went over so well. I'm always going to do it.
I ripped it off from you.
A lot of people do now. I will take. I know I went on John Malin's stream and he thought it was a great idea. He did it too. It's fun. So Indiegogo gives you that capability. I always
Clint,
say, yes.
Are you going to be pimping me out harder than Huggy Bear?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, all right. I can do that.
You dress for it.
What's
Yeah.
I noticed the pipe and the hat and everything, but I just didn't address it until we couldn't.
My daughter's feather boa is in the other room. I'll wear that next time.
You got to be careful because that'll be a stretch goal or something. They'll be like, every stream for the next year, he's gonna have to wear that feather boa
until Clint gets to 100K.
Then you'll be Fraga wearing a blinged out bunny suit for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
If we go high enough, I'll
Fraga's high enough.
Proselytizing.
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
That's what goes in here. That's what goes in here.
Yeah, we'll have to. I don't know. I haven't done any like silly stretch goals like that, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we could. I don't know. Chat's pretty creative, so. Flux Core. He says, but. All right, appreciate that. Thanks everybody for watching. Watch out for Fatal. I'm going to be signing books. I think I'm going to be staying up late signing books and then all day tomorrow and shipping things out. And I've got teenagers from the neighborhood I have paid to come help stuff things. Yes, they're trying to earn money for the summer, so I figured let's do this thing.
So when they're all damaged, blame those dirty, rotten kids.
No, I'm going to be like, listen, guys. Comic collecting is important. Like they're gonna get a lecture, but it's gonna be great.
Now here's a quarter. Go buy popcorn and candy whistles. See you later, kids.
Like, well, thanks for working all day. I'm gonna give you a copy of the book. Have a good one.
Make sure you're smoking a cigar the whole time. You've got like got the whole aura.
Yeah. I'll be like, hey, if you do good, you'll get a sticker too.
Yeah, you're just constantly counting like a big pile of ones the whole time. And smoking a cigar, just every time you talk to them.
Yeah,
they'll learn quick.
Petting a cat.
Kid. Let me peel you off one of these singles here, kid. Yeah. You want a butterscotch candy? There you go.
Yeah, you got like melted Werthers in your pocket.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, it's like hair stuck to it, and here's a quarter. Yeah, it'll be fun. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you. I'm gonna really try and make videos while all this is going on. So yeah, rain or shine, I'm gonna make one tomorrow for sure because there's just too much to talk about. And I thought about streaming of like signing books or boxing things. I don't know. I almost feel like I want to go onto someone else's stream and do that, so I'm just not contributing. This
is your chance to start hitting up EVS. He's not over there enough.
I was hoping he sent the link today, but I suck on streams, guys. I'll admit it, but I'm not very good.
There's so much innuendo tonight, Clint.
See.
It's because you saw that Batman penis, and that was it. The rest of the night.
Now it's all subliminal. Now
Clint was the target audience, and he didn't even know it.
He's been trying to slip it in all night.
There we go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and I'll see you in the next